I'm Michael Reese.
And I'm Woods Davis.
And this is the Digital President Podcast.
We've cracked the code for generating customers online for every business model.
In fact, we wrote the book on it.
We've built multiple multi-million-dollar businesses in as little as 90 days. And the one truth that we discovered is
the best business model is doing what you love and living your life by strategy.
You truly can follow your passion and create the life of your dreams,
as long as you have the right strategy.
If you're a real estate agent and you'd like to learn how you can partner with us to help you implement our strategies and systems in your business so you can make a lot more money and have a lot more time freedom, all without ever paying us a penny or giving up a percentage of your commission, go to partnershipdetails.com and schedule a call with us today. While it's fresh in your mind, go to partnershipdetails.com. Now on to the podcast.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Digital President Podcast. Today, we're going to talk to you a little bit about really the importance of really the life by strategy. Specifically, if you haven't read the book Digital President, make sure you go check it out. The first chapter is life by strategy, and I want to really unpack, the difference in transactional income and passive income and kind of share the backstory of when we came up with the concept. What we started with, like what our strategy was, to create passive income, and then where we are today. I think that'd be a good discussion, Woods, because, it's that time of the year. Life by strategy is one of those things that you certainly are always intentional with the way that you're living your life. But for me, it's kind of like my annual planning. You know what I mean? When I'm doing my goal setting, and if this was kind of a throwback episode, if you will, I'm just reminded, and this is because of just getting back from EXPCon, so many people asking me questions about, before you had all of this success, whether that's transactional success or success with creating what would be really considered leveraged income, income that comes from many different places, from many different sources, what was it like when you first started? And so I felt like this would be a good thing to chat about, how we first started and what we thought our plan was going to be and where we ended up and why.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is, and one of the biggest lessons that we've learned and I think why we kind of got on this path too was you learn really quickly in business, especially if you've had multiple businesses or you've been in different industries, tried different business models within an industry. You learn really quickly that all revenue is not created equal. In fact, sometimes it can feel kind of like blood money versus like really fun money. And so I just remember being in your office and, having success with the businesses that we had, the businesses that we were in. But maybe not really feeling the fulfillment. Those businesses started to require maybe a lot more time, a lot more energy, effort than really what we wanted to do. And man, when you start looking at how you want to live your life, like what does your ideal day look like? Is your business set up in a way that allows you to live that? And that's when I think we started getting a little more clear about not only what we wanted the businesses to look like, what we wanted our life to look like. But it also kind of uncovered this whole path around more leverage income, passive income. And I think we kind of started down the path where a lot of people think like, okay, you're going to do it in real estate. You're going to do it with, different type of investment vehicles. And man, I'm thankful that we kind of landed where we were.
Well, the truth is, at the core, what really, for me, the way that I remember it all going down was, we had a lot of different income streams, which we actually referred to as business units, right? And so, we had income coming in from software, from coaching, from mastermind, from selling leads, from affiliate revenue. And all of those different revenue streams had different contribution margins and really a different trade-off, right? So the amount of time and energy and effort that went in to produce one income was different than another income. Specifically, in 2016, we wrote the book Inside Sales Predictability. We built the model, chapter 7 of Digital President, we talk about it, the value exchange. And I think the value exchange was a really good concept to understand because it's based upon, if you look at what a business model is, it's really how you capture the value. I talk to people all the time and they share business ideas with me, things that they're thinking about doing. And I'll tell you what, man, I've had a lot of good ideas. The problem with an idea is it could become very emotional. They say when you're doing programming or you're working with a programmer, once the first line of code is written, it's really an emotional project. And so a lot of the times, when it comes to not only living your life by strategy, but moving forward, it's like monkey bars. You got to create the space, or said differently, you got to let go of one monkey bar to move forward. And so for us, I think it was, at the essence, and we've said it, we've shot videos on it, but creating that space was getting clear and in the book, we getting clear on where we were trying to go. So getting clear on where we were trying to go was, I believe a lot of people have not experienced. I mean, like I said, if you went to a genie and you said, hey, genie, I want to make money, but I want my money to come for trading my hours or for making an investment up front of my hours, but getting paid for that investment over a long period of time. And so for us, there was a couple things that we did. I think we started, with kind of the overall strategy. And I think I still have, we went to Staples and we bought these huge stickies. And one of the stickies, we posted up on the board and we kind of worked around exactly what we were going to do in order to achieve the Life by Strategy. And, we did put real estate and we did put, obviously a bunch of other things. But I think really my first true passive income started when, we started mining cryptocurrency in 2016, 2017.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even when we were getting into it pretty heavily, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I really still didn't fully understand how cryptocurrency worked. I mean, I kind of caught a little bit of the vision. I think we were definitely a little bit ahead of our time back then. And I'm grateful for that early exposure. It makes things now, especially investing in cryptocurrency and kind of seeing where the future is going with the metaverse, with NFTs, everything kind of becoming digitized and how that's going to impact business. I think it's all great preparation for that. But the whole point of that was, dude, we were investing in those miners. I mean, I'll never forget, dude, we would have to invest in these miners from China. They were so on demand that we were literally like setting alerts, waking up at 3 a.m, spending all the money that we could spend on acquiring these miners. And then we would have to go through and get them set up and you have to, get everything established, pushing into these wallets. And man, it was a good first dipping into creating some literal machines to generate really passive income.
Yeah. And what that means is, when I first got introduced to, the crypto part of mining crypto, I remember I was sitting in the back of the car and a friend of mine told me what he was doing. And I said, what you're basically telling me is that you're printing money. There's no way that it works like that. And, it did work like that. Once we made the investment, I don't remember, we played anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 a machine. A machine could make us, in our model that we created, a machine could be paid off in just depending on the cost of energy and the cost of the actual crypto. The machine could pay itself off in as little as 120 days to 6 months. And that machine could end up running for years, right? And so, I remember having the discussion, and these machines, just so by the way, they were about the size of a shoebox. Maybe not exactly as wide and a little bit more cube, but you could kind of get the idea, kind of like a cinder block, not as heavy, probably weighed, I don't know, maybe 10 pounds. They had fans at both ends and you would plug them up and you would kind of daisy chain them all to at least look that way. And we put them on these baker racks. And yeah, and that was interesting because, what really happened. And again, I remember the concept. For me, what I want to point out here is I remember the mind shift. if you've ever made passive income, and, just think about this. Let's say what I'm saying is 100% true. You go spend $2,000, $2,500 on a little box. You plug it in. It makes $600 a month, and that box is paid for. How many boxes would you want? and
As
how long
many
would you
as
want
you
them
can
to run for? And the thing is that, that is the mentality. When you're making passive income, the mentality when you're there. Now, when you're in this, when your mind cannot conceive it, because maybe you've just been programmed or you have limiting beliefs that it's even possible, then it's as easy as saying, oh, well, I don't believe it, so I'm not going to buy the machine. But if you come to my house and I show you, hey, here's the machine, it's plugged in, here's the receipt, and here's what it paid last month and the month before and the month before. Those are the things. That's how an investor thinks. That's how, when you buy real estate, obviously people have bought real estate and had, not done well. I think I saw a guy who was probably one of the biggest that I know of right now out there, kind of leading the investor community. And he said, 1%, if you can get 1% rent, and he was breaking down the 1% rule, right? So if you have a house that costs $100,000, get 1%. Can you get 1% rent, right? What's 1% of 100,000? $1,000 a month,
Yep.
right?
1,000 a month.
And so, one of the things that I think you have to understand is that maybe because you don't understand, the opportunity doesn't mean that it doesn't work. And I think that was my takeaway from mining the crypto, was that, man, there are a lot of different ways that people are making income, and I should be more intentional about the income and the work and in time and where I'm willing to invest. And if there's a place where, I can go and invest in a lawnmower and go out and mow. I spent for a Toro lawnmower, I spent about $1,900 when I mowed grass. A kid today, and I probably had $40,000 worth of equipment. A kid today could put that same or a kid in 2017, 18 could have put that same money into a crypto machine. Not only minded crypto when, let's say, Bitcoin was at $8,000 a coin, but those coins, are worth $60,000 a coin, and potentially, the exponential of what that currency could be worth. Not giving financial advice, but when you think of when you're thinking about all of the different ways that you can create your life by strategy, I think it's foolish to not think in a way where you're a little bit where you're dreaming, because they say what got you here won't get you there. That's a book. The current mindset that you have, is what got you where you are. You're going to have to work on yourself, and you're going to have to change your beliefs. Like, if you ever see somebody who gets into, like, for me, when I got into real estate, my beliefs changed, right? I went from, I don't think the same as I did when I worked in the health club business or when I worked as a waiter. Now, in the health club business and as a waiter, I was a hustler. I wanted to make as much money as I possibly could as a waiter by providing good professional services. But why don't I wait tables now? Why would I not go wait tables now? Because obviously I've learned a better way to get a return. And the goal was never to wait tables. The goal was to make income so that I could do things that I wanted to do. Specifically back then, it might have been purchasing something. Today it might be to have the luxury of my time to invest with my family. But again, at the core of Life by Strategy, and I think this is important to kind of hyphenate here, because I'm doing this right now for next year. If you've not read Digital President, you can go to michaelreesebook.com and get a copy. But I'm telling you right now, in that book, in the very first chapter, it lays out step by step, not only how to set goals. I mean, you can set goals to mow more grass, right? To mow more yards, to live transactionally, to get transactional income where every month on the first year, or you can start creating a future. And even if you don't know how, it doesn't mean that you can't start thinking about it. A great question to ask yourself is, if you were, how would you, right? So like right now in the book, Change Your Questions, Change Your Life, it says everybody is in one state. you're either in learner mode or judger mode. So you're watching this, and obviously you're watching probably to confirm that, oh man, these guys are dumb. I'm gonna watch a little bit more just so I know that, I don't like these guys. Or you're like, man, these guys are brilliant. I'm gonna watch a little bit more to learn more, right? But if you're judging, I'm gonna tell you should probably quit judging people and try to figure out what can I learn from this person. And in this video, you can learn something about yourself. And that is by asking yourself, if right now you have no passive income, I'm going to ask you one question. And you don't have to answer. In fact, it's like if I say, what color is the Dallas Cowboys uniform, right? You don't have to say it. I know you thought it, right? You immediately thought, silver and blue with white, right? Or maybe you thought blue, silver, or maybe you just saw a picture of it in your mind. But I'm going to ask you this. If you had to create passive income that exceeded all of your current fixed expenses, okay, that's what we call as your freedom number. If you had to generate that today, and I'm not going to say one, because again, in any creative state, you always want to come up with three so you're not emotionally tied to one, right? If someone's going to do a design for you on a logo, you want them to design three because they'll get into one and they'll like it so much, it'll be hard for them to creatively separate themselves, which might be required to get the one that you like, especially if there's a bunch of designers designing something for you. So my question is if you had to come up with three different ways to create passive income this year, and let's say your freedom number was $10,000 a month and your goal this year was to achieve 25% of that based upon your current resources, right? You might be somebody that's, got a lot of money and you can go write covered calls and cash secured puts on your stocks and get premium, which is something that I do every month. I think, I've generated as much as 6 figures in a month this year, doing that. And, that process takes me a few minutes to do. But maybe you're not in a position where you can do that. Maybe you're in a position like I was when I had, not been doing that, but I wanted to. And that's the point. The point is that I wanted it. I didn't know what a cash secure put was. I didn't know what the option wheel was. I didn't know what mining machines were, but I knew one thing. I knew there was a better way. And I knew that at some point in the future, I didn't want to always have to wake up and go to the office and trade time for money or start the month at zero. So my question for you is, if you had to come up with three different ways to create $2,500 in passive income, what would be all of the ways? And what would be the decision filters that allowed you to choose one way over another? That's the question that me and Woods had to ask. And it was the pursuit of that question. It was in the pursuit of that question that allowed me to find not only buy my time back, but Woods, I mean, you laid out your freedom number. I think it was.
Well, I'll be transparent with the audience. So, usually so I've always paid myself from my companies. And it's $375,000 a year, right? That's just kind of like my base salary, that I paid myself. And so my goal was to replace that with passive income, which I just did in this past year. Took me a little bit longer than maybe it took you to hit your freedom number, right? But I got there and I was really intentional with that. I knew what that number was. I knew exactly how many units I needed to have in order to do that. And when I say units, I'm talking about the vehicle that I chose to build that passive income with. And man, yeah, it's life changing, because what happens when you start thinking about this and you actually start to pursue it and it starts to become real is that you unlock, just like you were talking about, like, sometimes it's hard for people to dream, and it's hard for people to really think and be strategic. It is when you're so focused on just making money, or you're focused on just like transactional income, living from transaction to transaction, living from just month to month or whatever that is, from deal to deal. It's really hard to, kind of focus on the future and create the future that you want. But when you've hit your freedom number, you're completely free with your time. So you can only invest your time in the things that are going to bring you the most fulfillment, bring you the most return on that time, bring you the highest return on your investment. And it really is like you escape velocity. It's almost like you just have this unfair advantage because budget does not become kind of like at the top of your decision filters.
No, yeah, you're able to make the right decisions. Because I've said this since I can remember moving to Dallas, and I've said it to Jay. Don't make
Long-term decisions,
based upon short-term circumstances.
short-term circumstances.
Yeah. And that's the point, is that, in your life, that's why you get free, because you're now at a point, we call it the freedom number, because you're now at the point where you're free. You're free to choose the projects. And so many people, here's what happens. I met with a guy, I respect him a lot, and he was sharing a story with me, and I felt sorry for him, but I didn't, because he was smart enough because he was aware, because he was able to tell me the problem, and I knew that problem would not continue to exist, because on his own free will, he could articulate the problem to me, which was, I had said the undisciplined pursuit of more. I was talking about the book, How the Mighty Fall. And this individual, a lot of people, when they look for opportunity, when you're trying to get free, one of the best things you can do is leverage a concept called vectoring. And this individual had an opportunity no different than me and Woods have had opportunities before. And I was sharing with that individual that one opportunity took a year of my life. Like one idea. Ideas, they just happen. And then it's like, oh, okay, that's a great idea, and let's do it. And then you look up a year later, and especially if you're relentless, it's almost like you're trying to make this thing happen. And a lot of the times when people try to go forward on that monkey bar, they go in the wrong direction, and there's nothing to grab. And so when the goal is to vector, to align, to get a plan that's in alignment, not only in alignment with what you're most passionate about, what you're good at, because you certainly don't want to go in a direction of creating passive income, but doing it in a way that is not fulfilling, right? And so our leveraged income. And so for us, leveraged income, the first leveraged income, significant leveraged income I ever made was through affiliate revenue. The second was through what would have been really a book funnel. And, what I mean by leveraged is that once I wrote the book and once the funnel was built, that machine ran and operated and produced income, and it did it 7 days a week, 365 days a year, whether I was feeling good, whether I was awake or asleep, it continued to produce income and was a machine. However, it wasn't as good as the mining machine, because once I got that income didn't continue to go up. It wasn't exponential. It wasn't like, well, here's now what I'm going to pay you, but what I paid you is actually going to be worth more in 12 months, right? Because now I got that dollar, I had to do something with it. And so if you believed in crypto and you mined crypto, or, for me, when I own a stock that I believe in long term and I have no intention on selling it, and we all know that if we were to buy real estate, we don't want to pay retail if we can get it cheaper. Well, that's what basically a cash secured put is that, you're telling the market what you would intend to buy the stock for. And by putting your money basically into the escrow, not buying it, it's your money, you're going to get it right back. And determining that price over what time, they pay you a premium to have those funds tied up. And that premium could be, I've earned is a little bit over 10% in a month. And I've earned, 4%, depending on what my level of risk is. If I'm in a stock and, it's trading at 23 and it's been trading at 23 for the last 10 months. And I'm like, hey, listen, I would take 25 for it. It ain't hit 25 in the last 10 months. And, that would be doing the opposite of the cash secured put. So that's a covered call. We'll go the other direction. It's at 23 and I'm like, hey, I want to buy some more. but I don't want to pay 23, but I'll pay 21. But it hasn't really gone down to 21. If I decide to buy it at 21 or 22, whatever that number is, the one's more likely to happen. There's a risk factor there. Depends on the premium. But the point is that I either already own the stock or I'm wanting to buy the stock. It's vectored to something I'm trying to do long term anyway, but I'm also spitting off what would be considered passive income because I'm either lending my stock or I'm lending my money to the marketplace. In return, the worst case scenario is I have to buy the stock for the lower price, which I already wanted to do anyway, or I have to sell it for the higher price. And if neither of those two things happen, they expire worthless and I get to keep the premium, which I think on one trade this month was, over $60,000. And those options, they expired worthless. I did a covered call and a cash secured put on a stock that I owned. I said, hey, I'll buy more here and I'll sell what I own for this, and let's see what happens. And it traded right down the middle for the month, and they paid me, and end of story. And I do that every month. But the point is that here's the point. You know how many years I own the stock and I never did that? And that's the point. The point is you have to be a student. You have to believe it's even possible. You have to know there's a better way. You have to get around the people that are doing the things that you want and learn how they think and learn the processes in which the decisions that they made. I learned that. What would it have cost? First of all, to learn that probably took me. Well, first of all, I learned it from a girl on a Zoom call 2 years earlier, and I thought she was crazy and that it wouldn't work. She literally, she was ADD and she was moving around a lot. And I was like, man, is this girl on drugs? What's going on? And she wasn't. I mean, she just was, she was enthusiastic and happy and maybe just drank a Red Bull. I don't know. She was real excited. But she sure as hell knew her stuff. She was smart is what she was. And she told me about it. And I didn't even think she was right. I was like, she didn't know what she's talking about. I mean, I didn't know what I was talking about, for the record. I shouldn't have been in judger mode. I should have been in learner mode here, eat my own dog food. Then I bumped into somebody else. They told me the same thing, but this guy was calm, cool, conservative, and he presented it to me different. She presented it to me as an opportunity to make money. He presented it to me as a less risk way to make money, because he used, did you know how Warren Buffett did covered calls and cash secured puts with Coke? And I was like, no, what do you mean? And he explained it to me. I was like, that's what that girl was talking about. And that one decision, that one phone call. And again, guys, this happened on a casual phone call. Both of these things happened on a casual phone call where I was listening and asking questions of somebody to learn more about them. I was literally on a Zoom and said, well, so tell me about yourself. Tell me about your business. And they told me a little bit about their business. And, and I asked them, so, I think it came out kind of like, well, I do real estate and I do this, but I also, trade stocks on the side. And I was like, oh, really? You trade stocks? And so I asked a couple questions, just out of true curiosity. And I think that's the power of knowing that you can learn from anybody in any situation. When I look at their forehead, I imagine it's that on their forehead I have a superpower. My job when I meet somebody is to try to find out what their superpower is and to, obviously contribute to the relationship, but also to learn from that individual, every one of them.
Yeah, I think, well, that's, first of all, it's a really good lesson too in humility, because, you have to be humble enough to be able to realize that, and open yourself up to be able to learn from other people. I'm sure those people were coming on your calendar for a strategy call, right? They're probably approaching you from the standpoint of learning from you.
The second guy wasn't. The second guy was coming. That's a crazy. The second guy came onto my plate because he was a dissatisfied client from 4 years ago that got assigned to me. And my assignment was, because he was wanting to cancel his service, we paused his service. And as a company, we decided that we wanted to add value to these people. And so he got assigned to me, and I actually kind of coached him. So, we had standard, and actually he came to the same guy just left Puerto Rico probably 3 weeks ago, but he came to me just checking in. It was the first agent actually that I had ever met at EXP, which is even worse because not only did this guy sit on the op, he was the first EXP agent. I didn't learn that from him. His name is Chris De La Garza in San Antonio. That's his name, Chris De La Garza. He went and invested in a thing called Ramp Camp, and he wasn't having success. And so he wanted to cancel. I jumped on a phone call with him, and through that, we built a relationship. And instead of, just letting this guy go through that relationship, he was at EXP, and he ended up coming out to Puerto Rico with his wife, and we had breakfast at the Ritz probably 3 weeks ago, and made a relationship with the guy canceling. I think that's something important, treating people like people, and, the goal was to help him get to the value.
Right.
The lesson for him was he didn't ever really try to recruit me to EXP. He never mentioned it. He asked me if I heard about it, and I said, yeah, but the truth is I didn't understand it.
Right.
And that's one of the big things is I had dinner last night with a guy that flew in from Florida, who him and his wife flew here just to meet me. That's it. They flew here just to meet me to talk about EXP. And the guy said, listen, I've heard about it, but nobody, I'm telling you, his wife says, I'm telling you, he hasn't been sleeping. He hasn't been sleeping ever since y'all's conversation. And he said, Mike, nobody explained it to me like you did. That's what he said. And he said, people have told me about it, and it's just like they're telling me this and telling me this, and they're just telling me features. When you kind of understood what I was trying to do and then laid out a plan on how you would go about doing that and why you would do it on the platform and what the benefits and pros and cons of doing it where I'm currently at versus doing it there, he said, after we spoke, he said, I couldn't sleep. And literally, our first phone call was probably 14 days ago. So in 14 days, I talked to the guy for the very first time in my life, and he flew him and his wife out on his own. He literally asked, man, if I came to Puerto Rico, could I meet with you? I said, yeah, I'm going to Vegas for EXPCon, but I'll be back on the 8th. And he said, all right, I'll be there. And he sure as heck was here, and he sure as heck met me for dinner. And it was I learned a lot from him. It was amazing. But I think the point of this is that, in all those scenarios, all of those meetings, the truth is the reason I didn't ask Chris De La Garza more questions is because I hadn't ever taken the time to even think about passive income. So he could have told me anything and it wouldn't have mattered because it wasn't, those were just words that were in, Robert Kiyosaki books that, led to things that never led to really anything in my mind, right? Like, oh yeah, everybody would want passive income. No, listen, we're talking about leveraged income and passive income. And I'll tell you what I term the difference. Leveraged income, is when I was in my real estate business, I worked with the buyer, I worked with the seller, I met with the buyer, I met with the seller. Later on in my business, other people met with the buyers and the sellers, and I got a portion. And so me and those agents created a partnership. They were independent contractors. I was an independent contractor, and we partnered. And in a partnership, there's a responsibility. There's what I do and what you do. And we came to an agreement on what I would do. And what I did, I was able to do through leverage, because to run an ad in Wiley, Texas took the same amount of time, just a different budget, just a few clicks of the button to run an ad in McKinney, Texas. To spend $500 a month on an ad or to increase it to $2,500 a month. My effort that went in to produce my part of the responsibility was highly leveraged. And so I could then get paid on many transactions without doing the things that took the bulk of the time, no different than hiring a buyer's agent. And I think of what we're doing at EXP, it's the same thing. It's just at a higher level, right? And so is it passive? No, it's not passive, because passive would be that I don't work for it, but I do work for it. But I will say there are people that I invest my time, energy, and effort into training. After 90 days, 4 months, 6 months, sometimes in 30 days, I don't hear from them again because they're so busy, because the opportunity for them to grow was so big and they were not doing so many things that they could be doing, that once they started doing those things, they had a lot of other problems and systems and processes that they needed to put in operationally because marketing and getting customers was no longer their challenge.
Right.
And so, but to give that person in Orlando access to those presentations, those ads, those funnels, that copy, those images, those online courses, I could provide it to someone in Portland just as easy. So it's highly leveraged. That's why I call it leveraged income, but it's not passive. I don't have to not do anything. But once I partner with somebody, and I say I, meaning us, once we get someone rocking and rolling, the great thing about it is a lot of the times they come to me and say, oh, I don't want to do buyers anymore. I now want to do listings. And then once they do a lot of listings, they're like, I don't want to do listings anymore. I want to get a listing agent and I want to start building my downline. And what they mean by building their downline is they really want to do what they've been doing in their local market. And they want to start doing it on a nation and global scale, because brokers of the future have no borders, in the cloud-based brokerage model.
You said something earlier that really connected a dot for me when you talked about how when we're mining crypto, not only were we making the money from that activity of mining the crypto, but then the crypto was also increasing in value over time, right? Which it was almost felt like double dipping. So with what we're doing now, when we partner with agents at EXP, I think what makes it extremely even more leveraged is not only are you getting like the leverage from the opportunities that you're directly creating for that agent, like in a traditional team, your income is elastic to the amount of opportunities that you're able to help create for those team members. And then your income is based on collecting a percentage of those deals that they close. So it's still linear, right? It's still based on the direct, your direct ability to produce those opportunities and their ability to get those deals closed. But where I think EXP and what we've been doing partner with agents is not only are we helping them create more opportunities, get more deals closed, training them, getting their systems up, but then they're able to actually take everything that we've been able to duplicate with them, and then they're able to help other agents duplicate those same things without us having to do that work. They then are becoming, the instruments of leverage by, helping other people. And that process continues to duplicate.
Well, yeah.
And so it's completely leveraged.
Yeah. And you can say it's almost the same concept like you just pointed out, but it's also with stock. I sell a house and I get stock. Well, I got my commission and stock. Right. And my stock has the ability, stocks go up and go down. We're definitely not giving financial advice, but if you get stock that you receive that you wouldn't have ever received otherwise doing the transaction somewhere else, then what opportunity has more exponential of growth? It would be the one that, hey, when I sell 30 homes here, I get stock. When I sell 30 homes over here, I get no stock. What if you get the stock and the stock goes up? There's an opportunity. And when you build this team, there's a traditional team, which is people who actually work with you under your personal brand. But when you build a team, everybody cannot deny that, no agent, not me or anybody I know that, I would say it's very rare if it's ever happened that someone comes on a team and stays forever. Most people have agents. And if there is somebody, that same team leader can't say everybody stayed forever. They say, well, we have this one person, maybe Angie, but you still lost Joe and Jeff and Julie and I'm going to say Jacob since they all started with J. But the point is that you lost those agents. And, where I think, the exponential factor comes in, like you're saying, is even if you never recruited anybody, you just built your traditional team, you're still going to have churn, which is people that are going to, become successful and hit the lid of that opportunity and want to continue to grow. And their only ability to increase that opportunity is to come and negotiate with you a better split. And at some point, y'all are going to part ways for whatever reason. Maybe they're not getting enough listings. Maybe there's not enough opportunity. Maybe they've come to the conclusion that their success is more of because of them and not because of you. Or maybe they learned a little bit about the secret sauce and some of the tools that you're purchasing, and they rather make those investments on their own instead of letting you make the arbitrage in between, those investments and the commission in which they're split on their end. Regardless, those agents leave. So, that's why I say if you ever do the math and, if not only the math on, how to get free, and if you ever want to create the life that you want to live, I will tell you that life isn't going to be showing homes every weekend, dealing with negotiating contracts, on your way to Thanksgiving in the car, trying to hurry up and get to your destination so you can send a fax. Or maybe or scan something into somebody that you need to scan into them. Regardless, the point is, or get to an internet connection so you can type up a contract. All of those things are important. I would say that most of the people that we're working with are selling more homes than they've ever sold, but they're doing it to say, when I get on this airplane and I fly 10 hours, I'm not going to turn around and fly home. I'm going to be at a destination. I'm actually going someplace. I'm going someplace and I can see where I'm going. That's where I want to go. And I know that in about 6 hours, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's the point, is that when in life, when you can see where you want to go, but most importantly, here it is, when you see the progress is happiness. When you see the progress and it's no longer, this is the goal, but you actually see, and you don't believe, you know that you're going to get there, then every day you're moving closer to what it is that you're doing all of this in the first place. And that's where the strategy of your life comes in. Like, where are you trying to go? What does your life look like 60 months from now, right? Are you working with buyers? Are you working with sellers? Do you have a team? How many agents came on the team? How many agents do you left the team? Are you only practicing in your market? Do you have agents in other markets? Have you done expansion? What is your split? Do you have a cap? Do you not have a cap? Do you earn everything you earn back in the form of stock? Do you have health insurance? Do you not have health insurance? Are you about to get it? Or are you going to lose it because your spouse is retiring? I mean, what are all of those different aspects of your life and the things that are most important to you? Are you 68 years old? Are you 38 years old? Or are you 28 years old? Right. But when you look at your life objectively like that, it allows you to make a strategy.
Exactly. And that strategy then comes down to the daily activities you need to do every single day today to make sure that you are going to be in that place without a doubt in 24 months, in 18 months, in 5 years, right? Like it's the same thing we do in any type of business. You're always going to want to set the goal, get really clear on the goal, chunk that down all the way down into the daily activities that are going to make that goal a reality.
Yeah, but those things aren't easy to do. They suck. Those things are no fun to do. You will never do the things with pleasure that are daily boring things until you know with 100% fact that by doing those things, you're getting to the goal. Right.
Right.
And so there's a lot of people that, they have to go make their calls and do all of this, but they're just doing it for a transaction to pay the bills. It's so short and it's so depressing because they're not even, they've given up on the bigger picture. They're just trying to pay the bills next month.
There's no light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. There's no big goal. There's no exit strategy.
Yeah.
There's no plan to transcend beyond that. And that's where there's no vision, the people perish. And, it's shocking to me, how many people don't take the time to set that vision. And I hope that this podcast, that this video, serves as a motivator to, like you said in the very beginning, ask yourself that question. What is your freedom number? What are the vehicles that you're going to use to hit that freedom number? And, what are you going to start doing? What are you going to take action? What can you do today to actually start moving in a direction to do
One
that?
of the things in the book we say is your life team, right? Like, who do you need to get on your team?
Right.
You need to create a team of people that are around you that are going to help you get there. And here's what we're saying. We're here to apply for the job. We want to be on your team. We want to partner with you. If you ain't went to partnershipdetails.com, you owe it to yourself. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Imagine, having somebody on your team that's helping you get that clarity and changes. One decision can change the entire direction of your life, right? Having a plan. You can have a plan that has you going in the wrong direction. You can go fast in the wrong direction if you want to. But we're here. Our job, our goal is to help agents. Our goal is to help them live their life by strategy. And so I want to tell everybody who's tuned in today, make sure you go to partnershipdetails.com, check it out. If you want to see what's working right now, the 3 best offers working right now that we're leveraging to help people with production, where people were walking up to us who went to brand new markets. This just happened within 72 hours ago.
James Pham.
James Pham, yeah, that's who I was going to say, in California, right? 9 deals under contract. 9 deals under contract. I believe he said in the last 60 days. Here's the one. This is the one thing that I remember. The one thing that I remember from going to EXPCon. The one thing everybody said, Woods. You know what it is? The one thing everybody said. Everybody said,
What?
"Man, Woods, man, Mike, y'all are bigger than I thought." How many people said that to you?
No,
How many people said that to you?
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
They always say that. They're like,
It gave me some motivation. I felt like I need to work out a little more.
well, I think they just meant height. I think they're like,
I'll tell you what they also said, Michael. I'll tell you what they also said is that they said, "Oh yeah, you're the guy from YouTube. I see you guys on YouTube. I see your videos," which is encouraging.
absolutely. Well, my brother from another mother, my boy just texted me that they just hopped in the golf cart. Jay Kinder, he just texted me they're rolling down to the beach.
So it's time to go live that life by strategy, brother.
He just texted me that they're rolling down to the beach. So I'm going to go get my lawn chair. And I think he's got my 2 little ones. So I'm going to head down to the beach in the golf cart. And I'm going to live that life by strategy. But it happened because I made a decision, and you can make one too. Change happens in an instant. It's your decision to change. Don't have limiting beliefs. If you had to create leveraged revenue, if you couldn't live off transactional revenue, if you had to have another income stream, what would it be? If you had 3 options, think about it. And if you'd like to learn how we can help you lay out your strategy, lay out your plan, help you grow your business, build a business that works harder for you than you do for it, head on over to partnershipdetails.com. There's a short little video there. You can also check out listingclass.com. There's a class there where we actually show you exactly what we're doing to help these agents. That's all I got for you today, Mr. Woods Davis.
All right, brother. Well, man, I appreciate you, and I can just tell you that I appreciate all the work that we've put in together over the years, and man, you've been a big help in me hitting my freedom number. I know we've kind of done a lot of things together, but I knew that it was possible. You got there first, and that was a big help to me. And as I'm now, well, all of us are helping other people get there. I just think about Brandon sitting at the table there talking about that $16,000 a month passive. That was a great experience. And I love just hearing those stories from all the other people that we're helping get free, man. So one thing that I know, my brother, is that the best life to live
is a life by strategy.